Happy Wine Wednesday! Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another Wine Wednesday video. I actually wasn't going to film this video today because last night, I went to sleep. We went out of town with Jack's mom to meet her biological father. It's kind of like an impromptu thing, and we didn't get back until like 11 o'clock at night, and we were like exhausted. So I ended up going to sleep around like 1 or 2 o'clock. That's usually like when I fall asleep, and then I ended up waking up around like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I feel like I like threw up in my mouth or something because my throat was burning so bad, and it just so happens that we have no water bottles on our dressers. Like all of them are empty. We have no water in the house besides like tap water, but like, oh, I could not. Call me bougie, but tap water, like, ugh. So anyways, so I was like scourging through the refrigerator trying to find something to drink, and I actually drank these Bayou waters, and I drank the watermelon, and they brought out a new cherry one. I actually like the strawberry lemonade one too, but they didn't have that. But anyways, besides the point. So I found those, and I like took a sip of that, and I'm like, it still freaking burns. So then I ate a pickle, like a pickle spear, and I was like, it still freaking burns. So then I went into the room, brought my water, my Bayou water into the room, and I ate like this half of a Rice Krispie treat that I still had, and that made it feel so much better. But by that time, I was freaking awake. So it was just a mess. So long story short, I was just watching a whole bunch of like ID Discovery videos, 2020, ABC 2020 videos, like a whole bunch of like murder mystery videos on Facebook all night until like Jack went to work. So until like 8 o'clock, that's finally when I went back to sleep. So I was up for like 4 hours just not doing what I was supposed to be doing, which is sleeping. So I ended up waking up at like 12:30, and then I'm like, okay, Lon, you just chill. Like, just chill. You've got a pretty busy weekend this weekend. Like, take some time off. And I'm like, what would my subscribers think of me? Like, they're going to be like, girl, where the hell are you at? Where is our Wine Wednesday? So, without further ado, Wine Wednesdays today, our topic is going to be Love is Blind, because your girl is obsessed. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go watch it today. The reunion comes out tomorrow, so we're going to chit-chat about that. I'm also going to be using the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I'm going to be doing like this wearable kind of look. So, let's see how this goes. Let's go roll the intro. So I just fucking realized that the intro wasn't recording. Oh my gosh, I hope I can fix that. Because what the hell, Lon? I hope I can work with that, but oh well. I mean, the intro was recording, but it just wasn't, the audio wasn't hooked up, so I'm not sure how that's going to work. But y'all, you could tell I haven't had as much sleep as I maybe should have, but it's okay. Tonight is also workout class day, where I go to the Y and I do the kickboxing class. So I also wanted to make sure that I got up and like filmed this video, so that way I can try to get it uploaded at least like while I'm at my kickboxing class. So yeah, so let me just start off this video by saying that if you haven't watched Love is Blind, like, I literally don't know what you're doing. Like, you're living under a rock. If you have Netflix, it's definitely one of those shows where it's like trash TV, but it's like premium trash TV. You know what I mean? Okay, so to start off, I'm going to take G Money right here. Like this neutral shade. Okay, so to start off, Love is Blind is a reality show on Netflix. It is based in Atlanta, and it's the whole reasoning behind it is to answer the question. It's an experiment. Is love really blind? So these couples are brought to this, like, I don't know, probably a warehouse, honestly. But there are these things called pods. So think of a pod as a confessional in a Catholic church. I'm not Catholic, but I've watched enough Law and Order, CSI, you know, those type of TV shows to know kind of like what a confessional looks like. So think of a confessional and think of you not being able to see the person across from you. So it's like one pod is here and one pod is here, but there's like mesh to where you can still hear them, but you just can't see them. So there are so many singles. I'm not sure of the exact number of singles, women and female, male and female. And they're pretty much just like going on dates. So they'll, you know, talk to one person for so long and they'll talk to another person for so long. And, you know, they have a notepad of who they're talking to and what they like about them. So they can like keep track of notes, their snacks and alcohol and things like that to keep them company because, you know, now that the show is over and they're on their press tour, it's been said that like they've talked to some people for about anywhere between 30 minutes to 4 hours. So, you know, being in the pods could be pretty long. So yeah. So they're in these pods and they're chit-chatting and we get to follow along with so many couples. And we see Mark and Jessica who instantly become like connected and they're like, oh my gosh, you're from Chicago. You love the Cubs. You love the Bears. You have a dog. You know, you want to raise your children with Christian values, you know, everything like that. And so we see them and we see them form this connection. Now, we get to see what each of them look like. So for me, I was like, Mark, like, I'm sorry, bud. Like, he did tell her he was Hispanic, like of Hispanic heritage and all that. But I was just thinking at him like he kind of looks like a bug. And I was just like, you're not the most attractive, bud. Like, when she sees you, she's gonna be happy. So anyway, so we meet Barnett, his real name is Matt, but I guess his last name is Barnett. But we meet Barnett and Jessica also form a connection. So the whole situation with Jessica and Mark was Jessica's 34 and Mark is 24. So she had been harping about that since the beginning, since he told her that was his age. And to her, it was just kind of like, why would you want to be married? You know, you're still young, you know, this, that, and the third. And he's like, I'm ready. Like, don't worry about me. I'm in it to win it. Like, I'm in it. And so she meets Barnett, and Barnett is obviously a white man, and he's 27. But Jessica doesn't care that Barnett is 27. Like, she doesn't care that he's so many. Oh, it's my mom. Hold on. Okay, so I forgot what I was saying because my mom called and talked for so long. But I think I was talking about Jessica and Barnett. I'm using a pigment primer, though, from NYX. But, okay, so Barnett is 27 and Jessica's obviously 34, so there's so many years apart. But she really liked Barnett. But Barnett himself was confused as to, like, who he wanted to marry because, okay, so I didn't preface this very well. So these strangers date each other in these pods. They have to have an engagement. Once they become engaged, then they come out of the pods and they can see each other. They have this like glorious reunion, and then after that they go on like a pre-honeymoon type of thing. So the first time that they're actually together, hanging around each other, like sleeping together and everything like that. And then from there they go back into the real world where they get their phones back. They are actually living with each other. They talk about, you know, what they want and finances and everything like that, and then the wedding comes. So we're still in the pods, and Barnett is confused as to who he wants because he's talking to Amber, he's talking to Jessica, and he's talking to a girl named LC. Now, personally, out of all three, I liked LC the best. I thought she was the most, like, she was kind of like a happy medium between the two because Amber was kind of crazy. Jessica was just a little bit much, and then LC was just kind of like the medium, like middle of the road. I'm using the shade Get Ready With Me. And so, anyway, so Barnett is kind of confused. He doesn't know what he wants. Like, one day he tells Jessica, like, if there were no other girls, like, I would pick you hands down. So Jessica takes that as his declaration for love. And she pretty much, like, writes off Mark at that point. So then the following day, Barnett's like, I don't really know what I want anymore. I'm really confused or whatever. And it's funny because she was also just as confused between Barnett and Mark until Barnett said that he would choose her. And so Jessica gets mad. She flies off the handle. She's just done with everything. She's like, you're a fuck boy. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I don't want to, it's just like pretty much over between them two. So Jessica goes back to Mark. And at this point, Mark's like, I don't want to be second fiddle to nobody. Like, I'm a good catch. This and a third. And he still ends up taking her back. So Barnett ends up getting engaged to Jessica. Barnett ends up getting engaged to Amber. And they grew on me as the season went on. But at the beginning, I was kind of like, ugh, like they're both fucking extra and annoying, and they're just a bit much for my liking. So I was kind of like, ugh. So Jessica ends up accepting Mark's proposal because he still ends up proposing to her because he's just so head over heels in love with her, and he just loves her so much, and he feels like they could just be so great together, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. It was a whole bunch of bullshit. So, anyway, so we move on to Kenny and Kelly. Now, Kenny and Kelly, I didn't really follow their storyline too much because I didn't really care because they were kind of boring. So, they were so boring that at the finale, I was, like, taken for a fucking loop. So, I was, like, they didn't actually show a lot of Kenny and Kelly either. Like, I don't know if that was because they were so boring, but they had like a solid foundation. Like, they really liked each other. They had the same favorite childhood book. Like, they were like on solid ground. And the whole season they had us thinking that, they were, the couple, the best couple out of the bunch. And so those two didn't really have too much of a storyline. Like, they weren't too interesting. They weren't too cool or anything. So we flip over to Damien and Giannina. And Giannina is she comes from an immigrant family. And she's really pretty. And she seems to have a good head on her shoulders. But that girl is psycho. I'm like, I got mood swings. But she was just kind of disrespectful to Damien throughout the show, and it really showed. And I didn't like it. I thought he was a little too passive, but like the girl literally said to this man, she said, do you know why you say when we have sex, you say that this is the best sex of your life? Do you ever realize that I don't return the same sentiment? Something along that line. And it fucking panned to him, and it, like, when I heard that, my chest just stopped. Like, damn, bitch, you just told the whole world Damien's dick game is whack. Like, bruh, like, that hurt. And she was just like, like, I don't have those butterflies anymore. Like, she kept going hot and cold with Damien. Camera, quit playing with me. Camera. But she just kind of treated the shit out of him, and it was kind of bogus. So she just went hot and cold. One day she would say she was in love with him. The next day she would say she doesn't have butterflies. It was just kind of weird. And so anyways, flip over to, like, their story was kind of crazy, but it wasn't like anything like too, like, besides her being super dramatic and being hot and cold, like, they were also kind of boring. She was just fucking crazy. Like, a lot of people were saying it seemed like she was auditioning for like a telenovela, like a Spanish not sitcom, a Spanish telenova TV. Like, it was just that dramatic. So anyways, flip over to who else is left? Carlton and Diamond. So Carlton and Diamond were the only black couple on there. There were other black people on there, but they were the only ones that got. Apparently, everybody had like connections and things like that, and everybody that they showed at the beginning actually went on dates and stuff like that, but not everybody had that got that screen time. So they picked like which couples they wanted to portray. So Carlton is a Southern preacher's kid, and he is bisexual, which everybody agreed, like, because I went on Twitter, girl, after every single episode. I was on Twitter after every single, because they released like so many episodes and then they released so many episodes. So Carlton was bisexual, which nobody had an issue with Carlton being bisexual. It was more so him being deceitful. So Carlton, I need to do my other eye. Let me do my other eye and then I'll come back and talk about Carlton. Okay, so like I was saying, Carlton is a PK, and he's bisexual, and nobody had an issue with him being bisexual. It was the way that he went about it. So he didn't tell Diamond in the pods that he was bisexual, but we knew as the audience that he was bisexual because he told us. And so I'm going to be using all affordable drugstore products. So yeah, that's that. So we knew that he was bisexual, and all along, like, I was just like waiting with like bated breath for him to be like, you know, this is what it is kind of thing. And it never came. So they get engaged and everything, and they get to Mexico. And he, like, Diamond already knew something was kind of off because of how he was acting. Like, he was kind of like he just didn't seem like he was, like, how he seemed in the pods. And she was kind of like, this ain't the guy that, you know, I fell in love with. This ain't the guy that I, you know, liked. Like, he's being weird. So he was making it seem like that he was being that way because he had this big secret he was hiding. And all along, I'm just dropping everything. All along, everybody, like, the audience is just like, tell her, like, you should have been told her. Like, why would you hide something like this from someone? You're taking away her ability to make a decision for herself. So he ends up telling her, and she's like, okay, you know, I need to take some time and pretty much like think about it and, you know, give me some time. And he didn't really like that she wanted some time. And in my opinion, I was just thinking like, bruh, like, you gotta give this lady like time to think about it. Like, that's something that, you know, like she was saying, like, should have been said before they got engaged. And so, long story short, she ended up saying, like, you know, like, I can't do this or whatever. She felt deceived, and as she should have. And she said, you know, no, thank you. So they had this big old explosive fight in Mexico. She threw her drink on this man. And then he told her wig had been slipping back this whole entire thing. And let me just say, like, I thought the same thing. I was like, girl, you're a NBA dancer. Like, your hair looks like that. Like, bro, your hair looks atrocious. Like, I ain't the best, obviously. But it looks a mess. So they had the big explosive fight, and then that's like the end of what we see from them too, because they're no longer engaged, so they can't be on the show. So they leave Mexico not together. Callie and Cate, which is the boring couple, decides that they're not going to sleep together because they, you know, Callie wants to form a intimate connection as opposed to a like physical connection, and that was a red flag for me because I'm like, everybody else fucking, like, y'all just met, you know, you're gonna fuck somebody who you're engaged to, like, you know, like, have that connection. Mark and Jessica don't fuck either out there, and that we already knew was a fucking red flag. And then Giannina and Damien, they do end up having sex after Giannina pretty much tells him, like, we're fucking. It's been a long time. I haven't had sex in a while, so we're having sex. So that leads me to my favorite couple, which is Cameron and Lauren. So Cameron is a white man, and Lauren is a black woman. And they just share like an instant connection. Like, as soon as they start talking, I'm like, okay, like, I can get with them. Like, they're legit. Like, everybody else felt just kind of like forced. But to me, Cameron and Lauren felt organic, and it was really good to see them two on the show. So they, you know, form a bond over the love that they have for their family, and, you know, they're really big on family, and they just have this really good connection. Now, I will say, in hindsight, after watching all of the episodes and hearing from the cast now that they're on their press tour, I do wish that they would have shown more of of the couple's dating process in the pod, so we had more context as to why they felt so deeply about each other, because we really only got little snippets of little things. Like Lauren and Cameron were literally crying to each other in the pod, and it was so sweet. And that was good, but I feel like they only put the parts that were like good for TV as opposed to it being about the experiment. So I like the good for TV part, but I also felt like I needed a little more context. So anyways, Lauren and Cameron have this really good connection, and they meet, and you know, they have a good time or whatever. They do their thing in Cancun, and they were just the steady couple throughout. Them and Kenny and Kelly, I felt like were the steady couples throughout the entire thing. Like, we felt like, you know, we don't have to worry about them. Like, these couples are gonna make it work. So anyways, in Mexico, Jessica, then she finally gets to see what Barnett looks like, and the girl is like a fucking dog, and she was flirting with this man, continuing to ask him if he's like sure, and continuing to bring up the connection that they formed. And all the while, Mark and Amber, who are their fiancés, are oblivious. Like, I do commend Barnett for not like giving into it, but he should have stopped these conversations like a long time ago, because there ain't no reason why y'all are having these conversations, and it don't really matter. You know, y'all are both engaged. Like, y'all shouldn't be having these conversations about a connection that y'all formed in the past, because who fucking cares? So they get, oh yeah, Jessica ended up taking off her ring while they were in Mexico. She was just like, I don't know anymore. Like, I don't know. You know, we're like 10 years apart. And everybody's just like, who fucking cares? Like, you're an old hag. Like, no one wants you anymore. You want to have kids. You're 34. Like, you need to get your shit together. And this man is talking about he want to marry you and be with you and loves you, and you don't even. But I understand not being physically attracted to somebody. I completely understand that. But my whole thing was she led him on the entire time. And that is what got me with her. Because if you didn't want to be with this man, then leave him alone. Like, leave him be. Like, you should have told him that in the pods, or like after y'all met and got engaged. But she's taking off her ring, telling him that, like, she just can, and she's not sure, and just leading him along. And she got drunk one night and told this man how hot Barnett was, and he just kind of, he allowed her to run all over him, and it was just annoying. Like, it was annoying to watch. It was absolutely annoying and absolutely atrocious. And like, the show should have been called Mark is Blind, because everybody could clearly see that Jessica was just not like there for fame and there for the show, as opposed to forming an actual connection with this man. So anyways, they get back into the real world. So now they're living together, and they're back in Georgia, and they're living in these apartments that the company or the TV producers rent out for them. So they actually get to see if they can make it in the real world. So they're still not at work. So they're still not going to work. They're just living together, and they're like getting used to being in each other's space. And they see like everybody's houses. So like Lauren and Cameron go to Lauren's apartment to get some of her things, and then they go to Cameron's house to see, you know, like his house. And his house is really nice. His house was actually the nicest house that was on the show. And then they go into their apartment. So they're living together, and then we didn't get to see Kenny and Kelly's space. Kelly ended up having to go out of town, so we saw like Kenny living in the apartment and Kelly going out of town. And then we saw Jessica's house. Her house was really nice as well. And then we saw that Mark was living with a roommate, which of course Jessica didn't like that. And you know, he's 24, so I could still see him living in an apartment with, or in a house with a friend. Like, that's okay. You know, we're young. And she just was talking about, like, you know, she's always working, and she makes so much money, and she drives a nice car, and, you know, like, all of the things she's gotten for herself, which is really great. We don't get to see her family, which I thought was weird, and we don't get to see Damien's family, which I thought was weird. But that's okay. You know, some people don't want to be on the TV show. I understand that. But we don't see Damien and Giannina's places. We don't get to see that, but we do see them living together, obviously, which is, you know, normal shit. And then, so they're all living together pretty much. So Barnett and Amber are at Barnett's house because he's showing her, you know, his house and his dog and everything like that. And Amber pretty much tells him that she's in debt, which I don't even understand how she's in debt and she was in the military. Like because like when you're in the military, like you get the GI Bill. So like I didn't understand that part of it, but look what I brought out, Master Chrome, the OG. So anyways, but that's not my personal business, so it doesn't really matter. But they're talking about her finances, and she tells him that she has an Ulta credit card, and she has so much, you know, spent on it, which, baby, I feel you. That's why I don't have an Ulta credit card, because I would get sucked in like I did with Amazon, and it would be ugly. So she's telling him about her school debt that she has, and they make it seem like Amber was in it for a meal ticket. That's how I perceived her until I watched her interview after the show was over. Like, now that everybody's on the press tour. I mean, it really seems like Lauren and Cameron are the only ones. But anyways, besides the point. So, they made it seem like she was just, like, couch surfing because she didn't have a place to stay. And she had all this debt and was kind of looking for somebody to take care of her. Because she did, like, talk about, like, being a stay-at-home mom, and, like, that was her goal, and that's what she wanted to do. And that was all nice and everything, but I feel like they portrayed her kind of shittily, because I personally wasn't a fan of her until after the show was over, and I started seeing clips of her, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, she isn't, like, crazy. Well, she is crazy, but she isn't, like, you know, a desperate bitch, because she didn't have a job, and she was talking about, like, how she was going to afford the wedding and everything like that. Which the producers do pay for everything. They pay for the wedding, and they also pay for the rings and the dresses and the tuxes and all of that. The venue, all of that was pretty much paid by the producers. So they made her seem like she was just, like, really desperate, which I thought was kind of weird and ill portraying. But so that's when Giannina and Damien have that blowout about her not his sex game being weak. And then they go and meet the families. So I was the most excited to see Cameron and Lauren, just because being in an interracial relationship, you never know how your family is going to perceive your partner. I do feel like both sides can be prejudiced. Personally, for me, I didn't have any issue because we were so young and he was already kind of like introduced to the family, so I didn't have any issue. But I feel like it can go either way, with like one family not liking it or the other side of the family not liking it, or whatever it may be. But both of like, her parents were really good. We didn't get to see her meet Cameron's parents. We didn't see his parents until the wedding, which I thought was kind of weird. I wanted to see his parents, but it's whatever. But the whole thing was like him meeting her dad, because, you know, she had never dated outside of her race. And he had a long relationship with a previous woman who was black. I think it was like 5 years they were together or something like that. So he had experience. And the first thing that Papa Speed, which is Lauren's dad, had asked was like, have you ever been in a room full of black people? And Cameron said, yeah, I have. Like, I have that experience, you know, and, you know, it was cool. Like, I wasn't uncomfortable or anything like that. Like, I felt okay. And yeah. Cameron ass rapped for Lauren's mom. And when I tell y'all, I fucking cringed. Like, I was like, baby. Like, fucking stop, Cameron. Like, it was just a bit much for me. Like, I felt like it was just, he didn't need to do that. But it was made for TV. But he rapped for her mom, but he was very respectful to her father. Like, they had a really good conversation, and And the dad's main point was, taking care of his daughter and, respecting her and treating her well, because that's his only daughter, and he wanted to make sure, she's going to be treated well, especially if they're getting married after this experiment and everything. And her mom, because they met her mom first, her mom's like, ooh, I can't wait until you meet. I would love to be a fly on the wall when you're meeting her dad. Like, that's going to be an interesting thing. But I think her dad handled it really well, and he did as any father would do, and just, make sure that his daughter's going to be taken care of and there ain't going to be any issues, and, everything like that. So I think their connection was really good, and I really, really, really liked their, like, the meeting of the family and how everything went. I thought that was really good, and it was just nice for me being in an interracial relationship and being with a white man. It was nice for me to see it portrayed in the media, in like on television. Granted, I'm sure it could have went any way. She could have met and had a connection with anybody. There were other black men there and everything like that, but it was just nice to see them, make it through and everything. It was really, really good. I really liked it. I really liked their storyline. So, yeah, that was amazing. It was good. I was really happy with how everything turned out with the show, especially with them two. So, anyways, I gotta put on these lashes. I think I'm gonna put on these. I'm not sure of the names, but so we are up, and where are we at? In the show. So Callie and Kenny still haven't slept together at this point. And at that point, I'm still like, this man is good looking. Like, Kenny is a nice looking man. He's sweet. He's caring. He's understanding. And you ain't sleeping with him? Like, I was just like, huh? Like, I was kind of like, something's going on here. Something's fishy. So they still haven't slept together. So I was kind of confused about that. And then Giannina and Damien, they didn't get to meet her or his parents. They just said they didn't really want to be a part of this. Like, it was just, they didn't believe it was going to go anywhere. And her family, they came up from Florida because that's where they live. And we get to meet her mom and her dad and her stepdad. So we get to meet all of them, and everything's fine and dandy. Like, everything's pretty good with them. They were just like, like, this is a serious commitment. Are you guys for real? Like, they didn't really think that she should have gotten married because of it being such a short period of knowing each other. Like, they literally talked, and then they got engaged, and then they met, and then they, had sex or didn't have sex, and then they were getting married. So they thought it was just a little bit of a fast process, and they just wanted her to slow down and make sure that she was making the right decision. But in the end, they felt like, they were supportive of everything. So that was good. I felt like her parents were really, really, like, good about that. Like, they made sure that they told her, like, we don't think that this is the right thing to do, but we support you in whatever you want to do. Like, that, I feel like that's kind of like, that's a good way to go about it, if you're going to go about it. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then we meet Callie and Kenny. Yeah, Callie and Kenny's parents, they decided to meet each other together, which I thought was weird because nobody else had done that. So I thought that was kind of weird, but their families meshed so well together. At that point, we were just like, we know they getting married. Like, they are like a match made in heaven. Like both of their parents had got married really quickly when they were younger. Like, this is good. This is really good. Like, this is what we wanted to see. And Mark and Jessica, we didn't see Jessica's parents. Jessica, I guess, didn't, like, her parents didn't want to be on the show or whatever it may be, but we didn't get to see Jessica's family at all or really get their opinion on their marriage. And then we got to see Mark's family, and Mark's family was really understanding about the age difference. Like, Jessica kept bringing up the age difference, and everybody was just looking at her like, bitch, like, we don't care. Like, it makes no difference to us, really. Like, it is what it is, like, if you love each other, you love each other. And his mom really liked Jessica and everything like that. And so Jessica was still going through her, like, not sure phase, and she wasn't sure if she wanted to be with Mark, and, you know, all of that, and it was just a whole bunch of bullshit. She kept taking off her ring. She kept putting her ring back on, and it was just like, why are you even here? That was my thinking. Like, why are you even here if you're not even sure that you want to marry this man and you want to be with him, and you keep throwing him for a loop about, you know, what it is that you want, and taking off your ring? Like, that's just like, taking off your ring is just like the ultimate no-no, especially if there ain't nothing wrong, because there was a point where like, my hand would feel like swollen, and it would feel like tingly, and so I felt like my ring was cutting off my circulation, so I did take off my ring, but I would put it back on, like, as soon as I didn't have that feeling anymore. But that was something that I told Jack about, you know, like, hey, my hand is feeling really weird, you know, I think I need to take off my ring for a little bit. But she didn't. Like, he would just notice that she's not wearing her ring, and he would see these red flags and be like, yeah, this ain't it, chief, and then still go through with it. So I just was like, Mark he just wants his fucking heart broken, because at this point she's showing you who she is and you're still blindly following along. So I'm like, at this point you want your fucking heart broken, because there ain't no way I'm finna let this girl embarrass me on national TV and just sit here and take it. Like, no, thank you. No, ma'am. So everybody meets, you know, the parents that they're going to meet at this point, and everything is still going pretty well. We have the bachelorette party and the bachelor party, and, you know, Jessica gets really drunk, and she's like to Amber, like, I don't want your man. I love you. Like, I know that you think I want him and I don't. And Amber's like, bitch, if you ever come for my man, like, I will fucking hurt you. Like, I don't care. Like, Amber was like, this is my fiance, like, you need, like, if you do anything, I'm gonna fucking fuck you up, like, point blank, period. Like, she was not playing with her. And Jessica had just kept throwing herself at Barnett, like, throughout the whole season, and it was just so fucking cringy. Like, it was so cringy, and I was just like, have some respect, if not for yourself, for the man that you claim to be in love with, like, that you claim is your soulmate and that makes you so happy and everything like that. And it's just like, her whole storyline was about Mark being 10 years younger than her. Like, that was the whole Jessica storyline. Other than that, Jessica was really boring and didn't really have any, like, need to be there, because she fucking didn't like Mark anyways. So fucking bitch. But yeah, Amber pretty much told her, like, bitch, if you try anything, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, and that's just gonna be it. And so they get married, they go to the wedding day, and we get to see Giannina and Damien first. We get to see their wedding day first. And that one took me, like, I was like, like, no, he did not. So they say their vows and everything, and, well, oh, I forgot to mention to you guys, while dress shopping, Jessica had an entire panic attack about, like, not really being ready and not being sure, and, you know, them being 10 years apart once again, and all of that. So she has a whole panic attack while looking for dresses. So anyways, we get to the wedding. We get to see Giannina and Damien. That's the one that's, like, really crazy, and she's just fucking all over the place. And she was also hot and cold with Damien too throughout the process. So I completely understood Damien's reservations, like, when he explained, like, why he did what he did. So pretty much they are saying their vows, and Giannina says yes. And then it comes to Damien's turn, and Damien's like, I don't. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're fucking kidding me. Like, this is not happening right now. Like, I felt the heartbreak for her. And he was just like, I love you, but throughout this process, you've been hot and cold with me. You know, one day you want me, the next day you don't. And, I just think we need a little bit more time, kind of like to get to know each other and everything like that. And she was not having it. So the girl ends up running out of the wedding. And I swear to you, the first thing that popped into my head was, did this just turn into Maury? I'm like, what is fucking going on right now? Like, this is not Maury. Why are they chasing her? Like, she was literally running out. She slips and falls and fucking gets her dress all muddy. And the cameras are chasing her. I'm like, why? What is going on? Like, it was good, made for TV. But I was just like, what is going on? Why are we following her? Like, what is even going wrong? But she was so dramatic and just had so much going on the entire season that I literally expected nothing less than for her to do something like this, which she definitely lived up to what I expected from her. So they say no, they come back and, well, he says no. She comes back and they have a talk. Her dress is magically cleaned, y'all. Her dress is clean. And I was just like, how did her dress get cleaned? Didn't she have a dirt spot on her butt? Like, she literally fell. Like, how did... So I was just confused about that. And so, we get to see them talk, and she rips off a piece of her dress and gives it to him, and it's this whole big dramatic thing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this would not be Giannina if she was not being fucking extra. And so it goes over to Amber and Barnett, and Amber and Barnett that was pretty good. They ended up they both said I do. Like, that was a good wedding and everything. And, you know, I was really happy that they ended up making it through, even with Jessica continuing to ask him if he was sure, and, you know, talking about their connection and everything like that. Like, I was really happy for both of them because they did end up, like, working well together, surprisingly. I didn't expect that. So that was a good surprise. And then we get to see Callie and Kenny. So Callie and Kenny, like I said, surprised the fuck out of me. I was not expecting them to say I don't. Callie ended up saying I don't, and it was just like, what? Like, Kenny is literally the dream guy. But I honestly flipped through, like, I skipped through Kelly's, like, part of explaining, like, if she's gonna marry him and what she's gonna decide. Like, I was just like, this bitch she is boring, so I don't really care. But I guess she was, like, talking about how she's still hung up on her ex-boyfriend and all of that, and that's just, like, grimy to me. Like, that's just grimy. Like, why are you still hung up on your ex-boyfriend? And how are you not attractive to Kenny because he has brunette hair? Like, her examples of why she's not marrying Kenny was just bullshit to me, and I thought it was fucking lame. Like, you don't want to be with this man because, like, he has brown hair, and, like, I don't know. I feel like she also said, like, he felt like more of a friend. And to me, like, that's what I want in a partner. Like, me and my husband, we're fucking best friends. Like, you ain't got no other best friend. I'm your fucking best friend. And that's what I look for, you know, in a partner. Like, I want to be your everything. Like, I don't know. I just felt like that just being the best friend helps with, like, the relationship. Like, you know, because you can always talk about everything. And I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. So Kelly ends up saying I don't. She ends up saying no to him. And at this point, I'm just fucking over it. At this point, I'm just like, where is Lauren and Cameron? Because I don't give a fuck about nobody else, because everybody else is fucking stupid. Because I really expected Kenny and Kelly to get together, and literally everybody was hating Jessica the entire season. And the bitch we should have been fucking hating was fucking Kelly, snake ass. Like, she threw me for a fucking loop, and I don't like that hoe. So they flip over to Mark and Jessica, and Jessica ain't even have a bouquet. Like, this bitch walked down the aisle chewing gum, smirking and smiling, and got up there and told him I don't. And I was just like, you did not do Mark like that. Like, you did not just fucking do Mark like that. Like, what? She came down the aisle without a fucking wedding bouquet. Like, who does that? Like, where do they do that? Because I'm fucking confused. Like, yeah, I was so confused with her and why Mark even let it get down to be that, like, get that far. Like, I felt like that was just embarrassing. Like, for him, his family, like, just everybody. I felt like that was just embarrassing and unnecessary, because we all knew this bitch didn't want you in the first place, and you still went through with this bullshit. Like, If I was his mom, I would have had to treat his ass. I would have had to been like, nah, bitch, you knew. You knew, and you got me up here dressed up and looking just to support your dumb ass, and you knew she didn't want you. Like, I just cannot. I cannot. So then we get to Lauren and Cameron, and they made us wait the entire episode, like the whole hour episode. They made us wait to see Lauren and Cameron because they knew, like, that's really at that point, that was all that we cared about because they had just such a good vibe and everything, and that's really who we wanted to see say I do, because Lauren was like unsure at some point. She was like, you know, this is a big commitment and, you know, it's marriage and everything like that. And I completely understand her apprehension. But at that point, I was like, sis, you gotta say I do, because we all are invested in y'all. Like, y'all are America's couple now, so y'all gotta say I do. But anyways, their wedding went off without a hitch. They got married, and they look like they had a really good reception, because they did show snippets of the people who got married, which was Barnett and Amber and Lauren and Cameron. They showed snippets of their reception and everything looked really pretty, and everything looked really nice. So that was good. And so the show's over, and as soon as it was over, I was like, we need a reunion. Like, we have to have a reunion, because I need to see where everybody is at and what's going on with everybody. And so then, like, a few days later, after the final show was put on Netflix, they had announced that there was going to be a reunion. And then at that point, everybody who was cast members was allowed to, like, talk and post things on the internet, because they hadn't been able to post. And, like, you know, the Twitter people had found their social medias. So at that point, I had went and followed, like, Cameron and Lauren. I followed Kenny. I followed Amber and Barnett. I follow all the people that I felt like I connected with. Oh, I followed Giannina too. I think I followed her because I was really interested to see, like, where she was, because, you know, and what was going on with her, because at that point, like, she had suffered some pretty heavy embarrassment. And my good sis, she low-key deserved it, but she ain't deserve it like that. Let me go and change, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now that the show is over, and everybody's pretty much looking up everybody, trying to figure out, like, who's still together, and, you know, everything like that, we're all looking and trying to find Lauren and Cameron, because really nobody else really cared about anybody else. But the show becomes the #1 hit show on Netflix, so that was awesome, because when I first went into watching the show, I was kind of like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't even watch The Bachelor, y'all. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it ended up being a really good, interesting show. I liked the experiment. I liked everything, pretty much. And so they're all doing, like, their press. So Entertainment Tonight is interviewing them, like, E-News is interviewing them, like, everybody is interviewing these cast members, because, you know, we all want to know what the hell is going on, and who ended up with who, and what happened with what, and are so-and-so still together, or, you know, what is going on. So everybody is so curious. So Entertainment Tonight does a clip on Amber and Barnett and Lauren and Cameron, which and Giannina and Damiens. And that surprised the shit out of me, y'all. I was not expecting Giannina and Damiens to be on there, because they didn't get married at the end of the show. So come to find out, they actually are dating still. They're still dating. They just didn't get married because of, you know, them really not knowing each other, and it being quick, and needing to get their shit together, pretty much. And so they are still dating, and Amber and Barnett are still together, and they talked about a little bit about, you know, watching it back and seeing how, you know, how Jessica was, and how, you know, she was kind of shady, and, you know, because she was saying one thing to Amber and saying another to Barnett, and Amber was just like, yeah, I didn't really like that, and you'll see so-and-so and such on the reunion and everything like that. And I was just like, okay, like all the couples that I expected to still be together are still together. We see that, what's her name? Kelly is at a little party that they have for the season finale, but we don't see Kenny, and we find out that they're not together, but we find out that they had actually had a mutual agreement that they were both like gonna say no at the wedding, and that threw me for a fucking loop because I'm like, why? Like, I guess they just really didn't vibe as well, or maybe Kenny agreed because Kelly had pretty much told him like, I'm gonna say no, and he's like, oh, I was gonna say no too, that type of thing. And so that was disappointing, but yeah. So we also get to see like Lauren and Cameron. They are on like a lot of press shows because they were literally America's favorite. Like, America didn't give a fuck about anybody else except for Cameron and Lauren. So they are like in New York right now. They're doing the dang thing. He's had like a little article with LinkedIn. Her social media went from like, I don't know, 8,000 subscribers to like 800,000 subscribers, and his is at like 600,000. So they have literally gone into like a whole different world, like, and it's amazing to see because, like I said, they were obviously my favorite. I just felt like their love was genuine and they really cared for each other and they really made it work. We also found out that this was filmed in 2018, so almost 2 years ago. So some of these couples, like Amber and Barnett and Lauren and Cameron and Giannina and Damien, have been together for almost 2 years, which is mind-blowing. Obviously, Amber and Barnett and Lauren and Cameron have been married for almost 2 years, so that's really good to see. We get to see some of their posts coming in now of pictures that they've been hiding because they haven't been able to post on social media. So pretty much we've just been like waiting with bated breath every single day to see like what they're going to post and what they're going to do. Everybody's asking for a Lauren and Cameron spinoff, which I would love to see. I am here for it. They did say that they're going to make a YouTube channel, so your girl's going to subscribe because they just seem really genuine and like really in love, and it was just such a good feeling, I feel like. Everyone's asking for them to be the next season's host because, obviously they're the success story. So all in all, in my final statement, in my closing argument, I am telling you to watch this show. If you haven't already watched it, I pretty much just told you what went on and what happened. So if you haven't watched it, I'm sorry. I'm low-key a fan of spoilers. Like, I want to know. But if not, watch the show. It's good. It's bad, good TV. Like, if you just have nothing else to watch on Netflix, just start it. Every single episode is out now, so you can literally binge watch it. The reunion was going to be out tomorrow. I'm so excited to watch that. I think it's supposed to drop at 3 o'clock tonight. So your girl might get a nap in and wake up and watch that because I'm like, literally, I'm like, what's going to happen? What's going on? But it's such a good show. Yeah, I did this beat. I'm actually loving how it turned out. Like, I didn't expect it to look good. I didn't expect the purple to look good, like the maroon on the lash line to look good, but this is an everyday look with the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. Also, just some key products to mention because I didn't really mention anything. Obviously, I use the Jaclyn Hill palette. On my lips is BFF Lip Liner number 4 with NYX's Strictly Vinyl and Sugar Mama. Sugar Mama is one of my favorite lip glosses. This is a lip gloss that's thicker, so it's not going to be, the best for everybody, but if you've been watching me for a long time, you know that I really like that lip gloss. It's a really good, it's a really good brown, because I feel like some of the nudes can be a little pink, some can be just sheerer. This one is a really good, brown nude. So I really like this one when I'm trying to pair something up with like a bronzy kind of eye look. I did use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty. I used the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer. Somebody wanted to know what shade I'm in. I'm in Deep Tan. I used the CoverGirl TruBlend Minerals Powder in Banana. I haven't used this in quite some time. Obviously, I used my Colourpop foundations, and I used my Black Radiance blush and also a NYX or contour palette and a NYX blush. But that's pretty much it for the face. Oh, I busted out my Maybelline Master Chrome because I haven't used it in some time, and I'm like, I'm doing like a full kind of like affordable drugstore look. Let me, you know, whip that out. But yeah, this turned out so good. It looks so pretty. I'm really obsessed with it, especially with the hair. Yeah, don't mind my baby hairs. I still need to go and get hair dye because when I bleached the knots, I didn't do it right. So it just looks like it's like a like balding, but it's really not. It's just blonde and you can't really see it. So don't mind that. But yeah, the hair details will be down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my little hypnosis of Love is Blind. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and stream it. And thank you guys for all your love on the Doja Cat Say So video. I really appreciate it. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and I'll see you soon.